Hi, my name is Matthew Bellisario. Thanks for coming back by the BellisarioSonic YouTube channel from the heart of the Deep South on the outskirts of Birmingham, Alabama, where we talk about music, records, do record reviews, interviews, and much more. A lot of the albums you're going to see reviewed on this channel, you're probably not going to see reviewed on many other channels. So I really strive to look for new music, new releases, especially in the jazz genre, although not limited to that. If you guys missed the interview with Amos Hoffman on talking about this fantastic album on the JoJo label, I had talked to him, put out an interview this past Sunday where I had a wonderful conversation with him. We talked about his career, we talked about his guitar playing, his oud playing, and how it all comes together on this wonderful record here called Minor Operation. I also did a full needle drop review on this album, so if you haven't checked that out, please do so. Please go check out that conversation that we had that was put out yesterday, Sunday. On this channel, every Sunday, I try to put out a new interview from a working artist on the channel. And so far, that's worked out pretty well. So please tune in for those at noon on Sunday. Today, let's get to it. We've got a wonderful, wonderful album that I've been listening to streaming in my car by this legend, Charles McPherson, which I'm getting ready to open and drop the needle on. We're going to have a listen, see how it sounds. Charles McPherson is a living legend, was born in 1939 in Joplin, Missouri. This is his first album on the Smoke Sessions label. And if you don't know that much about Charles McPherson, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about his career. And then we'll talk about this record. And then we're going to open it up. We're going to listen to it. So McPherson's been on the jazz scene for over 50 years. He lives in San Diego, California now. But as a child, he began experimenting on the piano whenever one was available. And he attended summer concerts in Joplin, Missouri, and that featured different bands from the Midwest and from the Southwest. And these concerts that he went to apparently made a strong impression. McPherson moved to Detroit when he was 9 years old. He spent his formative years there where he was mentored by the late pianist Barry Harris, which this album is dedicated to. Harris was a pivotal figure for McPherson, not just as a musician, but also as a person. McPherson says, "The street that I lived on just happened to be on the street where Barry Harris lived, right around the corner, 5 minutes away." He says, "A trumpet player named Lonnie Hillier, who worked with Mingus along with myself for a long time, also lived right on my street. And there was a jazz club a few blocks down on my street called the Bluebird." Now, after he began on flugelhorn and trumpet in his school band at the age of 12, McPherson switched to the alto saxophone apparently around the age of 13. Much of his knowledge at that point was from the popular big bands of the swing era. He was also familiar with the great soloists from that time, such as the great alto player Johnny Hodges. And based on the recommendation of a classmate, McPherson first heard the music of Charlie Parker in his early teens. Despite not having a strong theoretical knowledge of bebop, he knew immediately that bebop was the style that he wanted to play. Age 15, he began to study with Barry Harris. In addition to, he briefly studied saxophone at the Larry Teal School of Music in Detroit. But by the age of 19, he had already progressed along, and he advanced to the point where he was working regularly throughout Detroit. But he then joined his contemporaries, moving from Detroit to New York in the late 50s. After moving to New York in 1959, McPherson began his association with Charles Mingus, which lasted for many years. He worked on and off with Mingus from 1960 to 1974, and I think he played on about 15 different Mingus albums. Charles McPherson's first recording as a leader was called Bebop Revisited, was made in 1964. It featured Carmel Jones on trumpet, Barry Harris on piano, Nelson Boyd on bass, and Albert Tootie Heath on drums. By 1972, McPherson had began playing with other people other than Mingus, but he continued to tour as a leader and as a sideman. In 1978, he moves back to San Diego, and since then he moved to San Diego and has maintained an active career as a performer and music educator. In 2014, he was guest coach with the Juilliard Jazz Artist Diploma Ensemble. He's been involved in education with numerous high schools, colleges, and universities throughout the U.S. and the world. McPherson was commissioned to help record ensemble renditions of pieces from Charlie Parker, if you remember that 1988 soundtrack of the film Bird. directed by Clint Eastwood. He was actually commissioned for that project. 2016, he was joined by Albert Judy Heath in receiving the Don Redman Jazz Heritage Award, given annually to legends of jazz whose musicianship, humanity, and dignity serve as an asset to jazz and the tradition of Don Redman. Most recently in 2017, McPherson was a recipient of the Duke Award from the Soka University, recognizing his lifetime achievement of quote-unquote long-standing artistic excellence, the victory of musical power, and the beauty fostered with the tenacity of intelligent endurance. It's quite a mouthful there. In 2020, the Jazz Times Magazine Readers Poll named McPherson Artist of the Year and also selected his album Jazz Dance Suites as the best new jazz release for 2020. He has 29 albums as a leader, many as a sideman. He's played with a lot of people, including Kenny Drew, Art Farmer, Lionel Hampton, Red Rodney, Sonny Stitt, and the list goes on. Going on to this album here, his first on the Smoke Sessions label. This album is dedicated to Barry Harris, captured in front of a live audience at the Smoke Sessions Club. Smoke Jazz Club is what it's actually called, and features an awesome lineup. Terell Stafford absolutely smokes on trumpet on this album. It's absolutely astounding. You've got Jeb Patton on piano, David Wong on bass, and Billy Drummond on drums. McPherson said he didn't set out to really undertake an explicit tribute project, but the final track, Ode to Barry, was penned in homage to the great pianist and educator. And McPherson says that I really like the language of bebop, which allows for a broad range of expression. He says, but I'm not a civilized bebopper. I'm a wild bebopper, and I might go anywhere from that jumping off spot. I'm 84 years old now, he says, and so the core remains the language of bebop, but I do it in today's world with today's players, and indeed he does. This is a smoking album, absolutely fantastic. So there's a little bit of the background. I'll show you the jacket and everything after I get it open here and we start listening to this. I think for those of you who like straight ahead jazz are really going to dig this album. And again, McPherson isn't unbelievable on this, but Terell Stafford just really caught my attention on this record. And really every time I listen to this, I've listened to this album about 3 times now through, and every time I listen to it, a different player kind of catches my attention. But the first one to catch my attention was Terell Stafford's, the trumpet playing just really grabbed me right off the bat. And it's one of these albums that, although it's more straight ahead, it's, like he says, it's kind of a wild bebop type of album, and it's something that demands repeated listening. So there's your jacket. They're doing average jackets, the Smoke Sessions. They were putting them out on gatefolds a lot of times, but this year the ones I've been picking up have all been just regular jackets with just the record in there, and the liner notes are on the back. So I'm going to go ahead and take this record out. They do come in anti-static sleeves, and they are generally pretty good pressings so far on this label. They're usually pretty quiet pressings, and the recordings are usually very good. Now, this one is obviously a live recording. I have to wipe this off with some distilled water, but it sounds pretty good. I mean, they do a really good job of recording in that club, the Smoke Jazz Club. So sound quality is not going to be the same as it would be in a studio, obviously, but it's pretty good. I think it's from what I can tell listening to it on streaming in my car, it sounds pretty good. Now, I don't in listening to it in my car, I've had people leave comments about streaming and questions and stuff like that. For me, I don't listen to streaming at home very often. And so when I'm listening to music at home, it's usually on a vinyl record for the most part. I don't consider listening in the car to really be a good judge of whether or not something's an audiophile recording. I mean, you can kind of tell if it's decent recording, but it's not until I really get it on the record and get home and really play it here in the listening room that I can really tell how it really sounds, in my opinion. So, all right, so I clean this off. Here's the record. And we're going to put on side A. And we're going to listen to a couple tunes, and we'll flip it over and listen to some more. Now, you've got Surge on here, which is a McPherson song. Blues for Lonnie and 3 is a McPherson song. Come Rain, Come Shine, that's kind of a standard by Arlen and Mercer, Johnny Mercer. On the other side, we've got The Dynamic Duo by Charles McPherson. You've got a tune called Old Folks by Willard Robeson and Dedette Lee, and then Ode to Barry, written also by Charles McPherson. So you've got some originals, quite a few originals on here by Charles himself, but wait till you hear this band smoke, and it is wonderful to listen to. Stuff like this just gets me excited. It's just such great music. There's your tunes and your players. Great player. So pretty nice sound quality so far. Remember, it's a live recording. Trumpets over here, more towards the right. Drums sound nice and resonant. You can really hear the cymbals. The bass punches through nice. Of course, that's Charles there, both speakers. Nice warm sound. Yeah, nice sounding recording for a live recording. You're not going to go wrong here. Yeah. You know, with regard to live recording, the new releases blow away most of the old live recordings. I mean, all those great live recordings that we love from the Blue Note era, they don't sound as good as this, I can tell you that. As far as live recording has gotten, the technology has really done well for live recordings. This sounds fantastic. You can hear people clapping, you know, but you don't hear a lot of the room noise. It's mic'd really well, mixed well, and again, the drums sound nice. It's usually one of the first things that catches my attention is how the drums sound. Nice punchy bass. Piano sounds nice. Yeah, nice recording. You won't be disappointed. This was recorded November 2023. Recorded November 1st through the 5th, 2023. There's some really catchy melodies on this too. Nice. Yeah. Nice warm sound. For a live recording, sounds fantastic. I'll play a little bit of Blues for Lonnie in 3 here that's going to play. It's over 9 minutes, so I won't play the whole thing. But I'll play some of it, then I'll flip it over. Again, this is just an awesome playing by everybody on here. You know, if you're into straight ahead jazz with a modern twist to it, if you will. McPherson to me has a very unique sound on the saxophone. It's very percussive sounding. So far the record's been flat. It's pretty quiet. No major noise to speak of. Six tunes total. And a lot of time, you know, they're all 7-minute tunes. 6 to 9 minute tunes, averaging around 7 tunes, or 7 minutes a tune. So they get to just jam out. Great lineup. All right, I'm gonna bring it down. I'm gonna flip it over. I try to keep these videos around 30 minutes or so for these reviews, but I love listening to these. I hate to cut them off. But I appreciate you guys hanging out and joining me, listening to all this great new music. Please leave your comments. I'd really love to hear what you guys have to say, and you guys have given me a lot of good suggestions and for upcoming reviews. I'm going to talk about that before I go. This is called Dynamic Duo by McPherson. I do have more Smoke Sessions reviews coming up. Another one that is a smoking record. This One For All is absolutely awesome as well. So they're putting out some cool stuff. But I've got two coming up that was picked out by Michael on the live stream that I had on the 1,700 subscribers. And these two albums he suggested that I get, and with the first $100 that I earned from the channel. So I want to talk about that briefly. I wanted to take the first $100 from the channel and put it right back in buying new albums to review, but I wanted you guys to pick them. And so two that were suggested to me I have not listened to, so they're going to be reaction videos. This new Rufus Reid album here, I have not heard this. He suggested to pick it up, so I'm excited about that. And I picked up this Jacob Went album called Silver Street that he recommended. I have not heard this either. So I bought both of these off Acoustic Sounds, and I'll be reviewing these, opening these both up, giving you my reaction here coming soon. So stay tuned for that. I'm excited to hear these. So I also did pick up another album from Acoustic Sounds that's been on my wish list for a while, and that's Satchmo Plays King Oliver. I've been wanting to get my hands on this for a while. I'm a big Louis Armstrong fan, so I'm excited to review this as well. So I want to thank you guys again for, up to 1,740 subscribers. I thank you for subscribing to the channel, for leaving your comments, for giving the thumbs up, for helping me promote all of these wonderful albums, especially these working artists such as these guys. I really like promoting working artists, and so that's what this channel has really focused on quite a bit. So thank you for that. I'm sure all of the musicians appreciate when you spread the word on their new music. So this is absolutely fantastic live recording from the Smoke Jazz Club. Great playing on it. Was recorded well. Nice warm live recording. To me, a great album for people new to jazz. It's got that kind of a classic bop, hard bop type sound to it. But these guys are just, amazing players on this. I've also got some other new ones coming up that are kind of be unique in the jazz side of things, so I'm excited about that. They'll be a little out there, but something interesting for sure on some of them. You hear just enough of the crowd to get that live feeling, but it doesn't overwhelm the recording. Doesn't give it too bright of a sound like you had on a lot of those old live recordings. They kind of were bright. They were hard. It was really difficult to record live back in the 50s and early 60s. You had to carry all that crap out, that heavy equipment, tape recorders and stuff into the clubs. It was a pain in the butt to record live, and with mixed results. This sounds fantastic. Of course, technology's come a long way, and it's really helped with live recordings, in my opinion. Listen to Stafford, man. stuff. All right, folks. Thank you for joining me. I hope you guys, go check this album out. This is definitely worth putting in your collection for sure. We'll see you on the next video. All right. Happy listening. We'll see you guys next video. Take care.